You don't have to have a big piece of furniture to make a huge statement in your home decor. Today I'm going to show you how you can take a smaller piece, make it colorful, have it be maybe the statement piece in your house, and it doesn't have to be huge and it doesn't have to take you forever. So we are going to be redoing this cute little telephone gossip bench. If you guys want to see it, make sure you stay tuned. Hey everybody, if you are new here, my name is Crys'Dawna, so welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new, please hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell and you'll get all the latest notifications. Also, everything I use today will be in the description below, so make sure you check out the description if you want to recreate this look. I will be working on a little telephone gossip bench today. It's right behind me. It's small. But I wanted to show you today in this video how if you are not super comfortable with color or you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, you don't have to start on a huge piece. You can find a smaller piece. So I'm going to show you how we're going to transform this cute little piece. We'll be using some texture, adding some moldings, things like that to really turn it into something that will be a conversation piece or an eye catcher for people who come to your house, or if you are trying to sell a conversation piece, I'm going to show you how to create it. So let's get started. The first step was to make sure that I cleaned my piece really well. I pulled the drawer out, I took the seat off, and now I'm going to clean it really well with my Dixie Belle's White Lightning. After I go over it with the White Lightning, I'm going to use clean water and a clean rag to go over it with water to get any residual off so I don't have any adhesion issues. This piece is pretty glossy, and so even though it is real wood, I don't want to use a bonding primer on this, so I'm just going to go ahead and scuff sand it really quick, so that way I can take some of that gloss off and then the paint will have something to adhere to. So I'm going to scuff sand this entire piece. Then afterwards, I take a microfiber cloth and I get all the dust off, and then if there's still a little bit of dust, I'll take my water bottle, just a spray bottle, and spray some water so that way I can get all the excess dust off. I wanted to add a little bit more character to this piece, so I'm going to use some Would You Bend moldings. These are really easy to use, so they're stainable, they're paintable, you can drill into them, and so when you first get them, they're hard. You want to take a heat gun or a hairdryer and you want to warm them up to create so you're heating them up and they'll be more flexible. You can see that this is going to go around a leg, so I'm going to have to curve this. So I am taking my heat gun. I am going to put some heat on this Would You Bend molding, and I am going to mold it to that corner of that leg. And once I have it warm and I'm molding it with my fingers, I hold it for a few minutes just so that it'll hold that mold. And you'll see right here how I hold it, and then once I let go, it holds that shape. The next step is to use a wood glue to put it on. So I'm using Titebond's wood glue, and I'm going to make sure that I have also some tape because I'm going to tape this on to hold it in place. I'm going to put glue on the entire piece, and I'm going to spread it out all the way to the edges so that there is a little layer of glue on the entire molding. Once I have a layer of glue on there, I'm going to replace it where I had originally put it, and I'm going to hold it in place while I heat it one more time. Because it has hardened again, I want to heat it so that way I know that it's flush to the surface. So I'm going to heat in sections, and I'm going to hold it with my finger at the top. I'm going to heat the bottom of it. I'm going to push it into place, make sure it's entirely flush to the surface, and then I'm going to tape it. And I am going to put a lot of pressure with my tape. So I'm actually going to wrap it around the leg and make it really tight. And then I will heat the top of it, and then I will push it down, and I will tape that down as well. And this will allow this to hold steady, be flush to the surface, and make sure that it is not going to come off. And I allow these to sit for a few hours. I'm going to be adding some decor transfers on here, but I wanted to show you what I did underneath this transfer over on the front. I didn't want just white on it, so I already had a layer of fluff, and now I'm putting a second layer of fluff. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the drawer edges with some mermaid tail, and I'm going to blend it in. And that way I kind of have a little bit of a gradient look on these areas where the transfers are. So it's not stark white, but then it's not, you know, solid mermaid tail. It's got a little bit of a blend. So I'm going to take this mermaid tail and I'm going to go around with a separate brush, and I'm just going to outline the outside of the drawer. Now, I am not using any extra water in this blending process. I am just using the moisture from the paint. So again, I put a layer of my fluff for my second layer of fluff. The first one was dry, obviously. So I did a layer of fluff, and now I'm putting the mermaid tail around the edges, and I'm kind of just pulling it into the center, and I'm just going to do circles, and I'm going to do all the motions that I normally do when I'm blending, but I'm not adding water. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in through the center, and I'm going to add a little bit more fluff in the center and push it out and blend it with my two brushes. And then I'll probably outline it again with a little bit of mermaid tail to darken it, and then that will give me just a slightly blended gradient drawer front. I'm going to be using a transfer called Latin Floral on the front of this drawer. It's the same exact one I used on the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fit it. So I'm going to crease this around that drawer front, and so that way I know where I need to cut it on the back of this, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to fit it again on the drawer, and then I'm going to take the burnishing stick that actually comes in the transfer tube, and after I have kind of bent it a little bit, or folded it a little bit, I'm going to take the transfer stick and I'm going to go over it again to make that crease a little bit more pronounced. And that way I'll know where to cut it across as well. You could use an X-Acto knife for this if you really wanted to, but I have found that this works really well as also. Once you have your transfer fitted to the spot, you're going to pull it apart, the actual transfer from the backing, protective backing, and then you are going to carefully lay it down where you want it to go. So I'm going to line it up with the top of where I was cutting it. I'm going to lay it down and press lightly with my fingers to push it in place. Once I have it exactly where I want it, I am going to burnish it. Burnishing is it's rubbing, okay? So burnishing, when I say burnish, I mean rubbing. It's just a fancy word for rubbing. So I am burnishing it down with this stick that comes with it as well. And when you burnish it, that is what actually transfers it over. So I want you to look right here and see how I am burnishing it. And you can see that little discoloration, how it lightens a little bit. Where it's lightened at is actually where it is transferred. So when you start using the transfer and you start seeing that kind of discoloration from the other part, or it lightens up, then you know that it is actually transferred over into your surface. So you are going to burnish this and pull away carefully. Burnish, pull away carefully. If your transfer pulls up on that clear protective piece, do not worry, just push it back down, burnish it, and it should transfer. Once my transfer is on the drawer front, I go over it and burnish it one more time with a microfiber cloth. I want to make sure that this transfer is adhered very well to my surface before I do anything else. Later on, you're going to see I am going to seal this transfer with the Easy Peasy spray wax. Okay, everybody, so I wanted to show you just really quick how you can use the color wheel on finding different colors. So I'm going to do 3 different colors on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Florida Orange right here for the bottom. Okay, so Florida Orange is going to be in the bottom. I'm going to mix this with Sea Spray. And I wanted to find 2 other colors. So I'm going to do Florida Orange on the bottom. And then I'm going to do the entire body in Mermaid Tail. And then I'm actually going to create a colored wax or possibly a wash. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a wax or I'm going to do a wash with the Amethyst, okay? So these 3 colors are going to be my colors, right? How did I choose these colors? If I didn't know anything about color theory, how would I choose the 3 colors? So I'm gonna show you guys right now. I have this color wheel and I'll link it in the description below. I also have a video showing you guys how to do this. I'll also put that below. But this is a really great color wheel because all these little tiny things right here give you colors that go together. So let's just say right now Mermaid Tail is, we're gonna say it's the aqua green, right? That's the closest. Sorry, I got other paint on here before, so this is probably not, here, let's get the lid. We'll just take the lid off. Okay, so we'll say that it is the closest to aqua green, okay? So I'm gonna look at my aqua green right here, and you can see it's number 7, and I've got a couple colors right here. And so this one says 23 and 15. So I'm gonna go over to 15, and it's purple. This is a little, it probably goes up this up here, but it's okay if you use a couple colors close to here. So purple is going to be one of your colors in, it's called a triad. So these are the 3 complementary colors that go together. So you've got purple will be one of the colors. And then, so let's see, we did aqua green. So we had 15. So aqua green is 7. And then 15 is purple. So we're going here, here, and then there's going to be something over here. The triad, like a triangle. So it's number 23. 23 is orange yellow. So I am going to do Florida orange on here, okay? So my 3 colors are going to be an orange, a purple, and a green. Orange, orange, purple, green. And that is how I got these. Let me close that lid. That could have been bad. So that's how I got these 3 colors are going to be the main colors on my piece. Also, it just so happens that the transfer that I have been using on this is called the Latin Floral Transfer. And if you can see, these colors are complementary colors. We've got greens, we've got the purples, and we've got the oranges. And you can see right here, we've got basically this is, let's get closer. So what I did here, you know, I used the mermaid tail and the fluff, but we've got basically this is mermaid tail and this is Florida orange. And even though this is a little bit lighter than amethyst, that's your purple. So you've got the purples and the oranges and the aquas in here already. And so we're going to play off of this transfer. Like there's, okay. So we're going to play off this transfer as well as use that color wheel that I showed you. This next part, we're going to be adding the Florida orange and the texture. So you're going to need a mixing cup, your Dixie Belle Sea Spray texture additive. You're going to need a tongue depressor or mixing spoon, a cheap chip brush, and you're going to need whatever paint you decide. So we're going to be using Florida orange. I am going to mix my paint really well, and then I'm going to pour and a certain amount of paint into my mixing cup. So I don't really measure here. I do want to cover the entire piece. So I'm going to fill this up quite a bit. And then I'm going to add the sea spray additive a little bit at a time because I don't want it to be too dry. So if you do put too much sea spray in here, you can add a little bit more paint. So here's how it goes. If you need it thicker, you're going to add a little bit more sea spray. If you have made it too thick, then add a little bit more paint. So I am going to just mix this, and I'm going to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. And then see right here, it's a little bit too runny. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the sea spray additive into here to thicken it up a little bit more. I want it to have a thick brownie-like batter consistency. You can see right here, it's not coming off, and this is the consistency I want. Then I'm going to take a cheap chip brush and I'm going to dab the entire piece. You can do circles, you can put a little bit more, load your brush up a little bit more and brush it across, and then create peaks if you want. You can do your texture thicker if you want. You can do it thinner if you want. I want kind of a thinner texture throughout this. I don't want it to crack and chip off. So I'm going to add this texture additive on the entire thing. Then I'm going to allow it to thoroughly dry overnight. Once I am done with that, I am going to take the mermaid tail. I'm going to take a premium chip brush. Now, normally when I'm painting over, I use a high quality synthetic brush, but I'm going to use a premium chip brush this time. I'm going to use mermaid tail, and I'm almost going to do a dry brush paint on here. So it's a little bit thicker than your average dry brush, but I don't want to cover the entire piece. I want some of that orange to pop through. So I'm not concerned about getting complete full coverage on here. So I'm going to use my premium chip brush because I don't want it, it doesn't need to be a super smooth finish. And also I want to kind of skim over it. And so this is really easy for me to do more of a thicker dry brush is what I'm explaining to you right now. I'm going to take a fine 10mm pad and use my Surf Prep sander. So you're going to use a sander for this. You could do it by hand, but it's easier to just use an electric sander. and I'm gonna go over everything, the entire piece. What's gonna happen here, now the paint is dry. What's going to happen here is I'm not only going to distress because I want this to have kind of an aged look, but this is also going to reveal more of that orange that is underneath that mermaid tail. So you can see right here with the spindles, you can see where the texture is, and then when I go over that texture, it knocks off that mermaid tail and brings that orange underneath. It just gives it so much dimension, and it's just really, really awesome. I love using this texture additive and creating color pops of colors that come through the other colors. Because I am going to create an aged worn look with this, I am going to go over the transfers and actually kind of distress and age the transfers as well. So this is a fine grit sandpaper. This is a 10mm pad. So if you are going to distress your transfers, just make sure that you're using a finer grit sandpaper so that way you don't rip through them. Unless you want it really distressed, then you can use a lower grit sandpaper that will rip through them a little bit more. This is the part where I go through with my Easy Peasy spray wax, and I am going to seal the entire piece. So this includes the transfer and everything that I've done up to this point. I'm going to spray it on the piece and then I rub it in with a microfiber cloth. I'm going to give it about an hour to dry because one, I am trying to seal this piece, and two, I am getting ready to use a colored wax. And when I put a clear wax on before I do a colored wax, this allows that colored wax to wipe back a little bit more easy. So you're going to see, I am going to mix a purple wax next after I'm done rubbing this other wax in with my microfiber cloth. Next, I'm going to mix a purple wax. So I'm taking the Best Dang Wax in Clear, which is water-based, and I'm taking Amethyst. And I'm going to mix these two into each other. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of the wax and about a teaspoon of the paint. I probably didn't need that much paint. It is highly pigmented, so I really probably put a little bit too much paint on here, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to mix these into each other because I wanted to create a purple paint. Remember in the beginning I said I wanted a teal, an orange, and a purple? So this purple is going to be the last color that I put on this piece. So mix this in with each other, and then I'm going to use a premium chip brush to apply this wax onto the piece. Now that I have my wax mixed, I'm going to take the premium chip brush and I'm going to put it on the piece. So here's the Would You Bend molding that I applied earlier. I'm going to dab it off a little bit with a paper towel. And I'm just going to stipple it into that area. And then the little area above it, I'm going to add a little bit of wax in those cracks and crevices as well. And then I'm going to wipe it back with these shop towels. And that way it has a really cool effect. That purple will sit into those little areas, the cracks and crevices, the more ornate details. If you want to pull more off, you can spray a little bit of that Easy Peasy spray wax if it's too dark. If you want to add a little bit more, then you can add a little bit more. I realize I've used quite a bit of products in this piece, or in this video, and I don't ever expect you to do this. I just like to play around with stuff so that way you know how to use different products. And that way you can take maybe something I used in this video and use it on your next project, or something from this video and maybe a video I did 6 months ago and put those together in a project. So that is why I play around a lot in these videos, because I want you to see products and learn how to use them and be confident when you use them. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a custom rose gold color with the Dixie Belle Gemstone Mousse. So you're going to need the amber, and I'm going to do 1 part of the amber. I'm going to do an equal part of the garnet, and you can see I am literally just putting a dot of the diamond in there because that diamond is what's really going to pull everything together. So I'm going to do equal parts of the amber and garnet, mix them together, and then I'm going to do just a drop of that diamond, and then I'm going to mix it, and it's got a really pretty rose gold color, and I'm going to use that on the piece to finalize everything. I'm going to take a makeup brush and I'm going to lightly brush it on all the little accents, and you can use your finger and you can gild it as well. Okay everybody, so this piece is done. I hope you enjoyed that video. Remember, everything I use is always in the description below. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe so that you get all the latest notifications. You do have to hit the bell. Then you get all the notifications when I put out a new video. I do have new furniture videos every Thursday, and then I have 10-minute Tuesday every Tuesday. So here is the piece. It's super cute. It's small. It's going to be a cute little statement piece in someone's house. I am going to sell this, I think, hopefully, unless my daughter sees it first. No, it needs to be sold. I have too much furniture. Okay guys, I will see you next time. Happy creating. Stay on here so you can see some awesome staged photos of this cute little bench. You can see it a little bit closer. All right guys, have a awesome weekend. Bye.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through and